I respond that Israel has been committing a genocide.
No. To the point about the return of hostages. Can we address that?
Nick Ferrari tears apart a woke activist moments after she tries to sneer at Trump, and it's a brutal snapshot of how public debate is breaking. In the clip, Zoe Gardner refuses to say Trump helped return hostages, and Ferrari snaps, "We'll do it my way," demanding a yes or no. Then, what happens after that will leave you gobsmacked once you clock her cancer line and the 2025 claim of almost 1,000 executions in Iran. This matters because trust in media and politics shapes votes, taxes, and safety. So who's really playing games with the truth here, and why? It reeks of panic. It won't stay on air. He asked her a simple yes or no, and she physically could not say the words. Watch the dodge, then listen for the cure for cancer line.
There are people who are still alive in Iran because of Trump's threatened intervention. That's a positive, isn't it?
Well, I think reports from Iran would directly refute that. People are still being killed. And even, in so-called normal times in Iran, like last year in 2025, almost 1,000 people were executed by the regime there. So I think the idea that Trump has brought peace to Iran is slightly...
Didn't say he brought peace,
just insulting.
He has halted the executions, though. Or let's go...
It's insulting because, when we talk about Iranians, we're talking about a people who have suffered under dictatorship and brutal repression for decades and decades. Trump tweeting some ridiculous opinion where it's not his place to come in and decide anything about the situation, and then deciding that actually the assurances of the Ayatollahs that it's all over now is sufficient. It's just frankly embarrassing and insulting to the brave Iranians who are actually standing up against brutality to pretend that Trump is anything to do with peace in that country.
Well, let's instead then go to Israel and the fact that many people there, particularly in Israel, believe that they had their hostages, or sadly the remains of their hostages, returned again because of Donald Trump's intervention. How do you respond to that?
I respond that Israel has been committing a genocide.
No. To the point about the return of hostages. Can we address that?
Well, the hostages being returned has not brought an end to the
President, I don't know whether you're... I'm obviously not... Right. Do you accept President Trump was involved in helping secure the return of the hostages? And if you do, that's surely a good thing.
Did you catch that? The transcript literally has Nick laying out a specific claim. That's a positive, isn't it? And she instantly turns it into a lecture about why the entire framing is insulting. Fine, people can disagree. But the pattern is consistent, no credit, no nuance, no room for that part was good. Everything must be relabeled as embarrassing, illegitimate, or evil. That's how you end up with a public square where nobody trusts anybody because the commentary is never straight, it's always a preloaded verdict. And look, I'm not asking for politeness. I'm asking for coherence. If you can't say hostages coming home is good without stapling a whole different argument to it first, you're not really having a discussion. You're trying to hijack the topic so you never have to answer the question in front of you. That's not bravery. That's avoidance dressed up as virtue. What makes this so relevant right now is that it's not confined to one radio row. It's the wider media program. Trump does something, and the machine's first instinct is to deny, minimize, or reroute the conversation. Not what happened, but how do we stop people thinking it's a win? And you can hear it in the phrasing. You can hear it in the refusal to concede even 1 inch. Now comes the tell. This is where she stops talking about a specific event and starts describing Trump as a roaming villain who threatens basically everyone on Earth. Listen to the scale of the claim and how it's delivered as certainty rather than evidence.
I don't accept that that was a good process. No,
Well,
obviously
it's
it's
not good to get the
wonderful
hostages
that
back.
hostages were returned. Yes, it is, but it hasn't brought an end
No, no, no.
to the
But did
immense
President
suffering. No,
Trump
I'm
help do
sorry, I'm
that?
allowed to make a
No,
separate
but
point.
just
Why
answer
not?
my question first. Let's deal with
I
it
am
chronologically.
delighted that the hostages were
And
returned.
was
I do
President
not
Trump
think that
involved
Trump's
in that?
intervention has been
No.
positive within that process
But
in any
so
way,
President
shape, or
Trump
form.
wasn't
And
involved
I
in
think that
getting.
the continued
No,
failure of the
I'm sorry. We'll
so-called
do it
peace
my way. When
process
it's
to
your show,
hold.
no, we'll do it my way. Thank you. Will you accept, and then we'll discuss the other part, will you accept that those returns were because of President Trump's work? Just a yes or no.
No, I think that the returns could have been better achieved
How?
through a true peace process that would have involved not funding a genocide against the Palestinian people, which is what Donald Trump did.
I sense that you're one of those people who, even if he was to find a cure for cancer, it would still not be the work of Donald Trump.
Donald Trump has drastically cut cancer research
Fantastic.
Funding throughout the
Unbelievable.
world. So the day he finds a cure for cancer, Nick, I would be delighted for you to bring me on, and I'll say it's wrong. Everything I've said.
Why is it that this man excites such opposition in your eyes?
I think it's quite obvious that Donald Trump is bringing authoritarian violence to the streets of the United States, that he is a dangerous warmonger on the global stage, and that he is a representative of the very worst elements of the political situation that the world finds ourselves in. He is a danger to Ukrainians. He is a danger to, frankly, anybody who he decides gets on his nerves that day. And he's a danger to American citizens. He's a danger to the global world order. And I think that the British public can see that incredibly clearly. And it's, frankly, just a little bit jarring to have conversations about whether or not he's a peace bringer.
There it is, authoritarian violence, danger, warmonger, danger to the global world order. Big, sweeping labels. And once you're in that headspace, you can justify any answer you like, because if someone is that monstrous, then even admitting one good outcome feels like betrayal. That's the trap. It turns politics into a morality play where facts don't matter, only signaling does. So when Nick hammers the yes or no, he's not being petty. He's exposing a basic failure of reasoning, the inability to separate outcomes from identity. You can condemn policies, argue values, fight your corner, fair enough. But if you cannot acknowledge a positive result purely because it would break the narrative, you stop thinking and started reciting. And that's the real humiliation here. Not Trump being mocked. It's the public being dragged into a world where everything is filtered through hate first, reality second. We can do better than that. We should demand better than that, because a country that can't speak honestly about wins and losses is a country that can't steer itself.